Yeah.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. In recognition of National Small Business Week, welcome to today's Business Licensing 101 webinar. My name is Amir Aviles, Business Consultant Supervisor for the Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection, and I'll be your host for today's presentation, where you will learn about the City of Chicago business licensing process, including required documentation, license application steps, and frequently asked questions. If after today's course you wish to attain more information, we encourage you to pay us a visit online at chicago.gov/BACP or in person at City Hall located 121 North LaSalle Street, 8th floor. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Our presentation today will give you an overview of what to expect from the Small Business Center upon visit. It'll also provide you with the fundamentals or the one-on-ones to get you started on your licensing journey. Today's webinar will allow for questions at the end, so we encourage you to leverage the chat channel when that time comes. And so with that, an overview of the Small Business Center. The Small Business Center is located at City Hall, 121 North LaSalle Street, room 800. And it's open from Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. We operate on a walk-in basis. At arrival, you will see a consultant at the front desk and provide them the reason for your visit. Based on that insight, you will then be provided a ticket to meet with the appropriate business consultant at a desk. An application may be provided for you to fill out with your business information. This application, should you choose to fill out ahead of time, is the business information sheet and it can be found online. Do note that our estimated wait times, should you be looking to pay us a visit, are readily available on our business licensing website. And again, that's chicago.gov/business licensing. Now, here at the Small Business Center, we are responsible for issuing approximately 30,000 business licenses each year. License types include, but are not limited to, retail food, retail sales, personal services, and home-based businesses. And we'll talk about this a little bit more in a later slide. As an additional resource to help with your licensing journey, please note that we also process license and permits online, and this can be done via our Chicago Business Direct website. So if you haven't had the opportunity to visit the site, I encourage you to do so. It is user friendly, so no worries there. And creating an account is as easy as one, two, three. Once you create an account, get licensed, you'll then be able to conduct ongoing maintenance. So it's a really great resource to fall back on as you take on this new journey. Now, as it pertains to getting licensed, note the following information. The majority of businesses that operate within the city of Chicago will need a license of some sort. However, there are some exemptions that come into play. And so, what I mean by that is certain occupations or industries like doctors, attorneys, and architects, security guard companies are regulated and licensed by the state, making them exempt from city licensure. Now, for a list of exempt businesses, you can visit our website or you can visit the IDFPR website for more information. If you're still unsure after the fact, you can always pay us a visit here at City Hall, or you can also shoot us an email at businesslicense@cityofchicago.org, and we'd be more than happy to help in this regard. Now, as it pertains to trade licenses, these licenses are issued by the Department of Buildings, which is also located here at City Hall on the ninth floor. So if you're looking to attain a general contractor or an electrician or a plumbing or a mason license for that matter, or if you're going to be doing work that would require you to pull permits both on residential and commercial space, the ninth floor will be the place to go for that. Another resource you can leverage is continentaltesting.net, and here you'll be more provided more information as it pertains to licensure examination and renewal. Now, earlier, we briefly touched on some of the business license types that the city offers. We will now take a deeper dive into this. Your business license and this activity will call for either a limited business license, a regulated business license, or a specialized license. The most common license issued is a limited business license. So if you engage in retail sales, let's just say you are a boutique, a flower shop, or any general retail store, or let's say you're an administrative office, a LBL will typically be the license that we would issue. Note that 9 out of 10 times, a limited business license are same day issuance. So as long as you have everything in order. Some businesses do require more attention from the city for the safety and protection of the public, and this is why we have regulated business licenses. Among these businesses, to name a few, we have home occupation. So if you're operating a business out of your home repair. So if you're doing small home repair projects that would not require you to pull permits, and an example of this could be you're fixing a doorknob or you're painting, you would be fine with getting a regulated business license and not a general contractor license from the Department of Buildings. If you're a hotel, a long-term care facility, or a residential real estate developer, you will fall under the RBL bucket. Now, if you're unsure of what license type your business activity falls under, no pressure. License type determination will be made when you submit your application. So you don't necessarily need to worry about that. We got you. And then lastly, we have specialized licenses. So this could be if you're establishing a restaurant, so anything that has to do with retail food. If you're looking to engage in the sale of liquor, tobacco, and these are considered specialized licenses because they require additional inspections before the license gets issued. And so therefore, these licenses are not same day issuance. Some of the inspections that could be required could be with the Department of Health, could be with the Department of Fire, ventilation, and it could also include the Department of Finance. So you would undergo a finance check to ensure that there's no debt currently owed to the city. And so by now you're probably asking yourself, well, Amir, how do I get started, right? What do I do to attain my business license? All right, so let's take a look at our next slide. First and foremost, you need to decide whether you're applying as a sole proprietor or a legal entity. And by legal entity, we mean a corporation, a LLC, so a limited liability company, or a partnership, to name a few. We'll talk a little bit more about this in our next slide. The second thing you need to do is identify what's the activity of your business. So you will need to determine what are you going to be selling as a service or a product, and you need to be able to clearly define this to us so that we can determine the best course of action at the time of your consultation. Once that is in order and you are at your consultation and we're pushing through your application, the next stage to follow once your application has been submitted is a zoning review. And so if you're looking to operate your business out of a brick and mortar, a zoning review will be required to determine whether that business falls under the zoning map of Chicago. And so for that reason, you're encouraged to check whether the address you're looking to possibly conduct your business meets zoning standards. And again, this is prior. So before you jump into some sort of financial commitment, it's always encouraged to let us know, or you're encouraged, right, to shoot us an email with the address of where you're possibly looking to conduct business so that we can better instruct you whether or not that's something that would be allowed. Once zoning is good and payment for the license has been made, if there are any inspections required, once you make payment, this will kickstart that process. It'll initiate the process of scheduling your inspections and undergoing the necessary inspections. So again, once you make payment, if For example, we need to conduct a finance check. The Department of Finance will get notified that we have a new applicant that needs to undergo a finance check. Um, the turnaround window on inspections, there's no specific set time frame, but if for some reason or another, right, you feel like your inspection is taking longer than expected, you can always reach out to us, and we'll notify the appropriate parties. Now, note, just to kind of give you an idea, that inspections can take anywhere from 30 to 60 days as time is needed to both, to get the results as well as go through them. Once all standards have been satisfied for license issuance, then your license will be issued. We can either send it to you via US mail to your business location, or we can work out for a pickup arrangement with you. So that's a little bit about um, how that works out. And finally, most licenses renew on a biannual basis. There are a couple that do not, and for example, these would be tobacco-related licenses. These renew annually. And so these are the life stages of your application, right? Again, just to kind of recap, you'll identify how you plan on operating, whether as a sole prop or a legal entity. You need to specifically be able to define the business activity that you'll be conducting so that we can make the appropriate consultation or make the appropriate recommendation as far as the license type. You'll undergo zoning review to ensure that your business activity is permitted in the appropriate zoning map. Once you've passed zoning, your application has been submitted, then the next step would be for you to make payment, which will then kick off inspections as needed. Once you undergo inspections, which again can take anywhere from 30 to 60 days, and the results have been received and we've gone through them and they've been satisfied, then we would provide license issuance. After the fact, as the business owner, right, it's your obligation to ensure that you stay up to date with those renewals. So, as briefly touched on, you need to decide whether you're applying as a sole proprietor or a legal entity. If you are going to apply as a sole prop, you'll need to register your assumed name, or what may be also referred to as doing business as, with the Cook County Records Office to ensure that you're permitted to use that name per availability. Operating under a name taken, could result in you opening up yourself to some legal action, and so it's important that you make take the proper measures as it pertains to that aspect. When choosing location, it's not just about where it's going to be, but also the square footage, as this can impact the cost of license. For example, if you're establishing a restaurant and we need to issue you a retail food license, the fee is based on the square footage of the facility. So you want to be conscious of this. And as already previously brought out, you want to be very specific and detailed about the type of activity your business will be conducting and be ready to share it during your consultation. And again, this is so that we can license you for the appropriate activities, as we don't want you to be under license. And then again, you could potentially open yourself up to situations where investigations can go out there, you can get cited. And so it's super important that you be very detailed about the activity that you'll be conducting out of your business location. And a valid ID will be required from all applicants, a valid government issued photo ID. Now, if you're applying as a legal entity, so if you're going to apply as a corporation, as a limited liability company, as an LLC, you'll need to have readily available your state file number, and you will need to be in good standing. And all this can be verified and attained through the Secretary of State. If you're registered in a state outside of Illinois, you will need to register your entity as a foreign entity with the state of Illinois. And so it's super important that, again, if you are already registered with the Secretary of State, that you ensure that you have the appropriate members listed. I know that at times you may establish your corporation or your LLC with two individuals, and then 2-3 years later, those individuals have changed. You want to make sure that all that information is current prior to providing us the information, because otherwise we won't be able to process your application unless all the records match. You will also need an FEIN number which can be obtained through the IRS. And again, this is if you're establishing, your business. If you're conducting retail sales or wholesales, you will need to acquire an IDOR number, and this can be acquired with the Illinois Department of Revenue. So if at any point in time you're selling goods, where um, in the business that you're conducting, someone walks away with something tangible, you're going to need to attain an IDOR number. As previously brought out, all brick and mortar business license applications undergo a zoning review. And so, that being said, before you make a financial commitment, we encourage you to first check and see if the location you are applying for allows for the business that you're looking to conduct. Don't assume that because you're taking over an already established business that you're in the clear. You want to make sure that the type of business that you're looking to conduct is allowed. And so, to confirm that that is in fact the case, again, you can pay us a visit, provide us the address, or you can send us an email with the location address so that we can have our zoning team review the address, in essence, kind of vet it to ensure that the business activity is allowed at that specific location. There are circumstances where, for certain reasons, for example, I will use the example of personal care services. There's certain limitations at times, and if you purchase this lease, or if you take out a lease, or you purchase a property prior to seeing if this is allowed at that particular location, it might create a bit of a headache for you. And so just make sure that you provide us, again, send us an email, pay us a visit. We'll double check that address for you before you, and we want to do that before you get into some sort of financial commitment. Excuse me. So once your application has been submitted and approved with zoning, you will then head over to the cashier window and make payment. If the license type requires inspections, again, payment will kick these off and your application will undergo that process. If it doesn't, chances are your license will be issued and printed the day of. Now, regarding inspections, the Department of Finance will do a depth check of money owed to the city. And so, if you owe any parking tickets, if your water bills, things along the line, if money is owed, you will need to clear that debt in full or get on a payment plan and provide us proof. Um, Being unable to satisfy this will prevent license issuance. If you're doing food, so if doing food, your license will require a health inspection to ensure you are in compliance with the standards set out by the city. If your license type falls under tobacco, children's facilities, or liquor, among others, these will require fingerprint based background checks for any officer who's listed on the license. And and that's something that we can, the fingerprinting aspect of it can be done here, or it can also be done offsite. And this does come at a charge. Your license type could also call for a Department of Buildings or fire inspection. An example of a license that requires this would be a public place of amusement or a children's facilities. These two, among others, do require these type of inspections. Once all inspections have been completed and approved, it is at that point that we are able to finally issue and print out your license. Now, if for some reason your inspection is disapproved, right, then more than likely corrections need to be made at a certain extent, and that inspection can get rescheduled once you are ready for the inspection to take place. So, if for some reason it does get disapproved, again, you'll correct the findings according to the appropriate inspection party, and then a reschedule of the inspection could be done. Now, when you visit us in person, again, at arrival, you will see a consultant at the front desk and provide them the reason for your visit, right? Based on that insight, you will then be provided a pre-application. So what I've already mentioned, the business information sheet, And then you'll be provided a ticket to meet with a business consultant. Again, the business information sheet, it is readily available online should you use to pre-fill ahead of time. Once at a desk with a business consultant, um, the business consultant will confirm the information and collect additional information needed to generate an application. If the application is approved for payment, zoning approval for a brick and mortar location, then you'll be able to pay for your license. If no other inspections are required, then you can walk away same day with your license. And if additional inspections are required, the business consultant will inform you what to expect to gain full approval for the license issuance. You can either choose to pick up the license at City Hall or have it mailed out to your location. Note that at this point in time, the City of Chicago does not offer a digital version of the license for delivery via mail. Now, if you choose to apply online via our Chicago Business Direct site, you will be prompted to register so that a user profile can be created. Okay, you'll go on there, you'll register, you'll create a user profile, and please note that only one user profile is allowed per person. You'll once you register, you'll complete an email, a photo ID verification to access the license services online. Um, you'll be able to do several applications for the different types of businesses that you are engaging with, but again, only one profile per person. Um, from there, you'll be able to start the application process. And among some of the many services you can complete online are, again, if you're looking to do a new business location, you'll be able to do this via our Chicago Business Direct site. If you're adding or moving a business location, this is another activity that you're able to conduct online. So there's really no need for you to come into City Hall if you choose not to do so. If you're looking to update officers or ownership, that can also be done online. A license renewal and the closing and cancellation of a license, all these activities can be done online. Note that when applying online for a license, there is a $25 deposit requirement, which will get applied towards the total cost of your business license once completed. These $25 are non-refundable, so be sure to do your due diligence prior to submitting your application. And with that, for additional information, feel free to pay us a visit online or in person here at City Hall. And as brought out throughout the entire presentation, you can also email us with any questions you might have as it pertains to being licensed with the City of Chicago. And as a reminder, if you're looking to pay us a visit, you can also check the wait times via our site at chicago.gov/business licensing. And then at this point, we will open it up for questions. So I see a few questions already in the inbox. Are single member LLCs that work in a home office required to have a license? Yes. If you are conducting business out of your home and you are within the city of Chicago limits, you are required to have a license with us. It is the same process for all kind of business. That's more kind of like a general statement. If you could just provide us some more clarification. Here it says there's currently a salon at a location I would like to take over. We would like to apply for a salon license. How likely would be denied by special use if there is already an active license at this location? If we would so what I would encourage you to do is, and this is for the question where there seems to be already a salon. I would encourage you to come in. We can submit the application for you in person. Zoning will review it. For some reason, zoning denies your application due to the 1,000 feet ordinance that's in place. What we can do then is provide you the formal denial letter, and then at that point in time, you'll be able to start the special use application process. The special use process or the special use application process does not guarantee, right? So if you submit this application, if you undergo this process, it does not guarantee that you will get licensed. But again, if it's a route that you're looking to take, we could definitely help you submit the application, work to get the denial letter, start the special use process. Um,
Hey, Amir, do you see the questions in the chat box?
um, yeah, let me see what else we have here. So I'm currently on the Q&A. Let me see if I can get there really quick. Yes. Okay. I see them all. Great. All right. Um, so
It
this was
starts at
earlier.
like 10:10.
Yeah. So we're it's asking if we can go back to the license types. Again, there's different types of licenses, right? We have LBLs, right? So limited business licenses. We have regulated business licenses, and we have specialized licenses. Based on the different type of or based on the activity that your business is engaging in, we'll make the determination as to what business license type you'll fall under or you'll need. So there's really no need for you to like be an expert at the different types of licenses. Um, if you want to start a crafting design business, ran from home, what license is needed? Um, so most sales will be done online or pop-up shops or craft fairs, but most of the production will be done at home. It would be mostly be personalized shirts, sublimation items such as frames and small gifts. Yeah. So um, depending again, this question is kind of open, right? Depending on the volume that you'll be conducting, right? And so this is where when you come into to city hall and you meet with a consultant, we'll ask you, what the volume of your operation is. If it's deemed that you need to attain a commercial space, we'll tell you. But if it's deemed that you can in essence conduct this business out of your home, then we would issue you a home-based license. What is required for a catering company operating out of a shared kitchen? So if you are a catering company operating out of a shared kitchen, you will need to attain a shared kitchen user license. And again, this is something that we can help you with if you come down here to City Hall. We'd be more than happy to go over the specific requirements and just kind of talk about it more in detail with you. But a shared kitchen user license. Does a business providing marketing, advertising, or film services require a business license to operate? Yes, you will need a license to operate if you are within city limits. Public vehicle licenses, the city website says in deciding whether to approve your application for license. Uh, the question kind of skipped. Let me see if I can go back to it. It says public vehicle licenses. The city website says in deciding whether to approve your application for the license, the commissioner will look at your ability to pay judgments and awards from any costs arising out of operating organizations' vehicles. My question is, by what metrics is this determined? So this is actually handled by our Ogden office. So public vehicle licenses. It's not something that we necessarily do here at City Hall on the 8th floor. Your best bet would be to visit our Ogden location. And for more information, you can go to our chicago.gov website for the specific address there. Do I need a license to mentor young Black males throughout the city of Chicago as a consulting company? If so, what type of license would it be? So yeah, you would need a license here with us, just to kind of get the administrative aspect of your activity licensed. Again, it depends if you're doing this consulting or the administrative aspect of it from home, then it'd be a home-based license. If you have an actual commercial location, then we would license it that way. Um, oh, that's nice. Not a question, but I appreciate the comment. It says, I've joined a few webinars. This webinar was the best one yet because all didn't rush it like the others. Were very patient and friendly. The tone of the others were unprofessional. Thanks and have a great day. Thank you. Try to do what we can here. Let's see. Do you need a physical address of the location prior to applying for a license? I don't have a location yet for the business, but I would like to have a license in place prior to signing a contract. Yeah, so it actually works the other way around, right? If anything, you need to have a contract or a lease agreement in place. Because again, if we're going to issue a license out, you already need to have a lease or a contract in place. Because other than, otherwise you're not committed to that space. And what we're licensing is not just your activity, but the activity at that particular location. What I would encourage you to do, and it kind of seems like your question is steering this way, is you're still on the fence about whether or not this is the right location for you. Shoot us the address. Um, Shoot us the address. We'd be more than happy to have our zoning team review it to see if the activity that you're looking to conduct is allowed. If it is, then at that point in time, right, you can sign a contract, go into a lease agreement, or because depending on the license type, we will require to see a lease agreement. For instance, let's take children's facilities, right? We're going to need to see a 2-year lease agreement or ownership of that property if we are to issue out a license. What forms of payment are accepted for license application? Um, Cards, checks. Actually, right on the 8th floor, once you're done with the consultant, we have a payment window right next to our doors, so you don't have to go too far to make your payment. So a lot of these questions are around what type of license do I need for X, Y, and Z activity. Again, what I would encourage you to do is come down to City Hall, or if you want to save your time, go on to Chicago Business Direct. Um, because as you provide us insight as to the type of activity that you're conducting, we'll be able to, either us here in person when you meet with a consultant, we'll be able to better determine what license type you need, or if you're looking to do the application online, as you enter, as you provide the answers and go through the process, it'll provide you information there. And at the same time, if you do decide to do it online, just note that your application does get in front of a physical person, and so if there's corrections that need to be made to your app, to your online application, or if there's additional information or additional clarification needed, someone will reach out to you requesting that information so that we can again appropriately license you for the activity that you are conducting. So if we would sorry, the questions move up as you guys enter more questions. So let me see. If we would purchase a business and transfer ownership, how can we separate the EIN if they are connected to other businesses and we are only purchasing that salon location? Okay, that gonna need a little bit more clarification. I'll try to answer it, but if you're taking ownership of a business and you're gonna operate under a new EIN, then at that point in time, it's a brand new entity. So we would. The question is a little choppy, but if again, you could always shoot us a message offline. But yeah, anytime you're operating under a new EIN number, we would need to create a new legal entity on our end for that particular business. Getting a business license for a home-based business, will the taxes be the same as a brick and mortar? So that's a question more so for our tax department. Again, if you shoot us an email, we could definitely get this question sent over for clarification. Hi, can you explain the purpose of the parking requirement to obtain the PPA license? and what an administrative adjustment is if you are denied the PPA license because of the parking requirement. Yeah, that's a good question, Stacy. This is something that I can kind of send over to our department here within BACP to get answered. So if you just want to shoot us an email with that question, I can get you routed to the right consultant regarding that question. Let me see here. We're trying to avoid doing special use with the salon location. And just so you know, as you all send us emails, our turnaround window to respond to those is pretty quick. And again, here within the 8th floor, right, we have different consultants. So we have hospitality consultants that specifically deal with, licenses around alcohol, PPA, right? We have specific consultants here that work with PPA questions, and so as you send us these questions, we'll make sure that they get routed to the correct consultants. Let me see here. What kind of license required for company providing marketing agency services? Sorry, these questions just kind of keep moving up. Let's see here. And then what I'll do is I'm gonna just share that screen there, which again highlights our emails. So if you have questions around Chicago Business Direct, you can shoot around the specific platform, or if you're doing something online on this platform, you can send us an email at chicagobusinessdirect@cityofchicago.org. And then if you just have general questions around licensing or zoning, or PPA for that matter, you can send us an email at businesslicense@cityofchicago.org, and we'll make sure to again route those over to the appropriate consultants. Let me see here. For a home-based consulting business, do we need to bring in business plan for review? So not necessarily a business plan, but we will just need for you to be detailed around the activity that you're looking to conduct out of your home, so that we can determine whether whether you can get a license for a home-based license, or if you'll end up needing commercial space. So we are trying to avoid doing, I keep going back to this question. So we are trying to avoid doing a special use with the salon location we are taking over. The EIN is connected to other businesses. How can we take over the salon as a new owner? So there's a few things that can be done here. Again, shoot us an email. It's a little bit more so that we can provide you some detailed information as to what options are available for you. We're not going to sit here and shut down the fact that we won't be able to do it, but shoot us an email, and we can talk a little bit more in detail. Yeah, so this is a great question. I am about to open a pet grooming salon that will include retail sales, so shampoos in store and online, and also offer complimentary drinks to customers. Is specialized license for animal care enough, or do I also need retail food? So I'm going to assume we're not talking alcoholic complimentary drinks. Unless we are, then it would go into a different bracket. It would open up a different conversation. But assuming you're just doing complimentary drinks, or maybe like small, like let's hypothetically say small bites, then yeah, you would need to some extent a retail food license. But again, we would need to get a little bit more specific as to what these complimentary drinks are. For example, if it's coffee, coffee could go bad, and so it's something that the city needs to regulate, and so that would require you to have a retail food license. All right. Um, let's see here. Okay, let me see what other questions we have. I'm going to try to go back up really quick. And, again, just in general, for everyone out there, if at any point in time you're unsure if your business activity needs to get licensed, um, more than likely, you do, right? But again, you could always shoot us an email. Again, there are certain business occupations or industry they get specifically licensed by the state, and so at that point in time, you wouldn't need a license with the city. But again, for that specific information, you can go to the IDFPR website, or you can shoot us an email, and we'll let you know. Let me see here. Zoning question: restaurant close by a university and medical facility and church. How can I get a liquor license? Again, shoot us an email with that specific address. We'll take a look at it. Is a merchant license the same as a business license? Um, not sure what that means. I'm sorry. Um, let me take a look at the Q&A really quick. Um, so here we'll start with Molly's. Is there somewhere where we can check that our business name is available? So again, if you're looking to attain the DBA, you would do that with the Cook County records. If you're looking to see if your business name if your legal entity name is available, that's something that you would do with the Secretary of State. So again, for DBAs, Cook County Clerk. For legal entity names, that would be with the Secretary of State. Does it matter if you have an LLC versus DBA when applying for a license? So again, these are two separate things. The LLC is your legal entity, so your company, all right? It's your legal entity. The DBA is just simply what we would see on your door if we were to go visit your business. So these are two separate things. For the most part, um, people acquire their legal entity with the Secretary of State, and it could include Inc. at the end. Most owners don't want Inc. posted on their brick and mortar location or on their business card, and so that's where the DBA would come into place. Can the zoning for a location be changed? I'm looking for to open a daycare, but the space was previously used for retail. Yeah, I mean, just because a specific location operated as a retail store doesn't mean that it wouldn't be allowed to operate as a daycare. Again, if you shoot us your address or the specific location address, we can get this over to our zoning team and we can have them take a look. What does the city process look like when a salon without a license? What does the city process look like when a salon without a license operates within 1,000 feet? Not understanding that question. Let's see here. Okay. All right. Well, we are at time for today's webinar and Q&As. Again, you will see it up on the screen. Should you have additional questions regarding how to use Chicago Business Direct, or if you're starting the process online and need additional help, please shoot us an email at chicagobusinessdirect@cityofchicago.org. If you have general business licensing questions, please shoot us an email at businesslicense@cityofchicago.org. Or feel free to visit us here at City Hall, located 8th floor. And again, we're open from 8:30 to 4:30. And so that'll conclude our webinar for today. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great day.